All right, Lions fans, we are back with another one, and we are going to jump right into it. We're going to jump into, I guess, Lions head coaching candidates or candidacies or and all that good stuff, but as well as GMs, and I don't know how that will work out. But as in head coaching, and or yeah, matter of fact, we could go ahead and slice it and say general manager and head coaching. Um, I before they hire a coach, I believe they should have the general manager intact because when they're interviewing the general manager, he should have a layout plan, maybe like in terms of how you see the progression status or like per year per se. If you have a dateline, a time frame that he would see the team progress to a certain point. Like if you give him if they come in with the when they come in with a vision of a 3 year plan, you want to know within that plan what do you tend to do about the quarterback positioning. Everything else is predominantly intact. This team is predominantly intact. They don't have so much. And I heard someone say that they got too many of the New England Patriots players here that may not want to buy into another system. Even I may have endorsed that to a small degree, but of course, I will alter that and I retract that by stating that I believe they have a great group of guys that were actually are professionals first and foremost, versus like the previous regime of the previous players from the previous regime. I think it was systematic and it was comfortable and it was complacent. I think the guys that they have here can basically go with any flow of a head coach or whatever, as long as the head coach has the plan or a vision to follow. So, with that being said, my endorsement for general manager is Peyton Manning. My endorsement for, even though he will be a first year guy and everything else, and he has relatively probably no experience at it, but the reason why I endorse Peyton Manning is because that I believe he has that it factor. And there's a statement that says great players or once great players is not good at being a general manager or very have little success of being a general manager or head coach. If he were to be the head coach, I get that. But if they were to place him, if you were to interview for the general manager position, I believe that he will actually have a precise plan, like how to execute to get to a certain his precise plan would be like you would see the progression in his vision, because I think right out the gate I believe he's like a no nonsense guy, and like but he's a leader from the start. And Peyton Manning's like a rare breed. He put me in the mind of the category like a Ray Lewis type. He's like the Ray Lewis of defense. I mean of offense. He's like the Ray Lewis of offense, and he's a guy that I believe this team to where is the players that they have will actually rally around his vision. With that being said, if you have Peyton Manning as your general manager, I believe he will probably go one or two ways with Stafford. He will interview Stafford and see what his projections is as coming along for the ride. And of course, he will lay out the plan to him and like, okay, we see this team going here at this such time and so forth. But he could do it one or two ways. He could actually alter if Stafford is willing to make the adjustments to his game. And I think when Peyton Manning, I don't know if he was in the booth, but when he actually was in the booth, my apologies for this. Actually, either he was in the booth or once upon a time he was talking to Stafford, helping him to alter his position at quarterback. Because I believe at the time Stafford would look down his receiver, and I guess he was either making he was a commentator and he was making an adjustment to Stafford or stating an adjustment to Stafford that how he should not stare down his receiver, so forth, so the safety or whatever else can play the pass. So in that direction. So I think he would be a great if he were to keep Stafford. I believe that he can adjust Stafford to actually play winning football. And but if he chose, which he probably may want to go his own direction with his own guy, any which way that he would go of drafting and so forth, I believe that he will bring a guy that may not be himself, but even if it is, he's looking for a quarterback that has the instruments, the ingredients that he had, the leadership, the maybe the accuracy, maybe the poise, maybe the maturity, and all this good stuff. I don't see Stafford checking off all those boxes, and I'm not a Stafford guy, but I'm not a basher to the point that he's not good. I don't think he will be good with his team. What the negative about hiring Peyton Manning is that I don't know if he did he kind of did it. What I'm about to contradict myself. I don't think Peyton Manning would be the guy that will be Detroit DNA, but he sort of kind of implemented that in Indianapolis. That their team was a bottom seller when he got there. Their team was terrible. That's how they got him, because they was terrible and first overall pick. But they were so terrible. But he brought them to being relevant. Off his arm, off what's in his head. That wasn't head coaching. That wasn't players. That was off of him. He brought that team to respectability. And I believe as a general manager, he could do the same thing with his organization. And I believe that of course, you're going to have some organization that may not take him seriously because they know him maybe as a player or maybe personally, so forth. But then again, I think he's a guy that other teams would like to do business with. And I believe he can turn this franchise around just with the glow that's inside of him. Once again, I'll state that he's like the offensive version of Ray Lewis. He has instant impact wherever he goes. Like, he's just a bona fide leader. And I believe from the very start that he comes into the organization, that leadership will triple down. And I don't think he goes out of the way. I believe how he conducted himself as a quarterback, as a leader, to put everybody in position and so forth, even coaches. I believe that he will have that same effect with this organization, from the upper management all the way down. And what I mean by that, what I'm saying with that is, and if I may add this, what Bob Quinn actually did with his stint, with his time that he was here, he actually did all the heavy lifting. Now, he may not be in the piece to get it over the hump, but he cleared out from the upper management all the way down. He cleared out all the ruckus that could have came from after the Wayne Fonts era, that next stint. I don't know if that was Gary Moeller. I don't know if when Matt Miller took over. From the point of Matt Millen all the way down, it was a stint of they were just behind the eight ball. It don't matter what it was, whatever move that it was, it just never could produce. Okay, you get Calvin Johnson, you couldn't produce. Not in terms of like playoffs or winning playoffs or going to the playoffs consistently. It just, that move they weren't able to make another move to make an addition to the Calvin Johnson, or to make another highly additional player to the Ndamukong Suh or even Stafford. It would just always seem like to be out of sync, out of place. But I think Bob Quinn, what he did was he restructured this team to make it the foundation is more solid. Of course, this is a big if they land a candidate who has the GM manager, that is, who has the fire, who has the will or has the desire to be here, who is innovative, who is a leader, who is poised, who's battle tested per se. And I believe that they can come here instantly and take this team to the next level instantly. Because this team is ready to go. They probably missing maybe, I say they're one player away, and it depends on which side of the ball you want to go with. If you go on the offensive side of the ball, if you keep the team as it is, if you were to go to the offensive side of the ball, they are, I believe, an offensive left guard away from actually being not just an ordinary left guard, but a dominant left guard. If they can get that guy in the draft, great. Or if they get it through free agency, great. But they are that one guy away that wants to come in and contribute to what's going on with the offensive line. But he actually has to be at Ragnow's level or better than Ragnow. Let me say that again. He has to be at Ragnow's level of play, not just play, but how he approaches the game and everything. He actually has to be at Ragnow's level or better. Now, this is that left guard spot. I think Jonah Jackson is grooming him, and Vaitai will be grooming up under the Ragnow direction. Taylor Decker is actually a man on his own island, but I think he's not a guy that will actually cause problems. He could fit in. So, but if you get that left guard that's on Ragnow's level or better, you got an all-pro offensive line. You're looking at maybe going back to the Dallas Cowboys offensive line when it had 2-A, it had Larry Allen and Stepnowski and so forth, right? On the offense, if they were to take that one player on defense, it's the point of attack. It's not, maybe not as an edge rusher, maybe it could be an edge rusher. Maybe it could be the nose tackle or the three technique or whatever the case may be. It's at the point of attack. Pennicini, Deshaun Hand, and maybe they have somebody else that's probably in their rotation. The gentleman that they brought in, I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name, but their defensive line is just missing one player, that dominant point of attack player. Now, they could do it that way, or if it's available, they can go outside linebacker / edge rusher. Or wherever it is at the point of attack. The cornerback situation, I think, is the secondary is taken care of. Like I said, if they were to go the point of attack, you're looking at if they had the outside linebacker / edge rusher, I believe that kind of makes the linebackers that much better. If you're able to put pressure on a quarterback, that gives, of course, a little bit less time for the linebackers to have to roam and cover. And that's just my opinion. So if you get a guy like, once again, I can't harp on this enough, the two candidates that I had in mind was Von Miller and Josh Allen. Josh Allen was the T.J. Hawkinson draft, and Von Miller, when it was possibly, could have traded for Stafford. But he's hurt now, and Josh Allen is with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I don't see them giving up unless it's probably going to be a high price. But the Lions, they don't have much draft capital, and I don't know how much they have. Some money. And they could go into free agency with that type of mind. But I believe they are one player on defense away from being actually an elite, like top 7 defense, maybe 5 to 7 defense. They are one player away, and on the offense side of the ball, they are one player away from actually being just dominant. And I even say that without having Kenny Golladay. If this team becomes a run-oriented team, then therefore it makes Stafford that much better. But they have to stick to it, and they have to take it out of Stafford's hand, which has been my one gripe against the organization with Stafford. And like I said, it's not a bash against Stafford. It just, in fact, you ask him to alter his game. And I don't know if he's at this point of his career that he wants to do that or whatever, or he could just be that type of guy that he has always been. Whatever makes the team win, he's for it. So, going back to my endorsement to Peyton Manning, if he can come in with that plan in 3 years, saying like, well, this is this, and he brought what he brought as a leader, everything he done, from my understanding, from what I saw of him, that he always been a leader. He's like a no nonsense guy. He may joke around and so forth, and I think that will bring some energy to the organization, some lightness. And from the past 2 GMs, I think they was kind of like tight-lipped. You know what I mean? And I don't want to call it arrogant, but they was set apart from from Quinn, he was very professional, from my understanding. And from Millen and Mayhew, I think they took the job. Maybe Mayhew probably took it a little bit more seriously than Millen did, but I don't think Millen took it as serious. Maybe because it was in Detroit. I don't know, but I believe that Peyton Manning would approach Detroit is not like a organization that you could just play around with, or that you can just actually mock and make fun of, or just not take it seriously. I believe he would approach it with the self same way that he has always approached everything that he have done, particularly when he first got drafted to the Indianapolis Colts, and he took something that was obsolete to something that was actually prominent, dominant type deal. So with that being said, that's my endorsement for Peyton Manning as a general manager. Um, I didn't look at that until recently. That could I when I made prior videos about the Lions are one piece away, or what is the next move they should do. I never considered candidates for general manager as much as head coaching. I said I endorse Jim Harbaugh as a head coach, and that whatever. But it still depends upon what's the direction of the general manager, and I believe they go for the general manager first before they go for a head coach. Even with the interim head coach in Bevel, it doesn't matter. Start with the general manager first, and he has his layout, he has his plan, his blueprint, how he's going to structure it, how his time frame, how he wants to actually implement his vision, and so forth. And we go with that. But Peyton Manning is my guy. All right, Lions fans, I salute.